Hello there and welcome. In this video we're going to be looking at the CaseWaves project. So we're going to begin by loading up our macro by clicking on macro up in the top menu bar there and selecting macros. We're going to be using the DualSPHysics.py macro. So we're going to click on execute in the top right there, just wait for that to load up. Then we're going to have a look at our setup plugins. If you're not entirely sure what to do here, there is a short video in the basics on exactly what to do. So we're now ready to start our new case. So we click new case on the right. First thing we're going to do is make this a 2D case with y position of 0. Okay, so we're going to change our case limit and we're going to first position our domain. We're going to have an x value of minus 100 millimeters and y and z values of 0. And we're going to have a length of 11,500 millimeters. And our height is going to be 1000 millimeters. So we're ready to start building our geometry. So we're going to click the cube up at the top there. I'm going to call this bottom. So this will make up the base of our domain. So we're going to position this at minus 100 in x, minus 500 in y. And we're going to have a length of 4,100 millimeters and a width of 1,000 millimeters, and we're going to have a height of 1 millimeter for our base. So we're now ready to add our second cube. We're going to call this cube beach, like so. And before we position this, we are going to change the angle of our beach. So we're going to have an angle of 5.7 degrees, and we're just going to change the axis. So we're going to change z to 0. We're going to change the y first. So we're going to have a y of 1 and a z of 0, and that means that it's rotated around the y axis. Now we're going to position this. We're going to have an x position of 4,000 millimeters. Our y position is going to be minus 500 millimeters, and our z is going to remain at 0. We're going to have a length of 7,035 millimeters, a width of 1,000 millimeters, and a height of 1 millimeter. As you can see, the angle there is wrong, so we need to change our y axis to minus 1, so that we get a beach. There we go, just like that. Now ready to add a next cube. So this cube is going to be called piston. So this will make up the piston that creates the waves in this case. And we're going to position this at at 10 in the x direction, minus 500 in y, and 0 again in z. And we're going to have a length of 10 millimeters, a width of 1,000 millimeters, and a height of 700 millimeters, just like so. We're now ready to add a fill box, so we're going to click on add fill box on the right hand side there. Now there's two parts to our fill box. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to define our fill limit. So we're going to have a length of we're going to position this first. So we're going to position this at minus 500 in y, and we're going to have a length of 10,000 millimeters. Our width is going to stay at 1,000 millimeters, and our height is going to be 400 millimeters. Now we need to define our fill point. So we're going to position this first. So we're going to position this at 1,000 in x, 0 in y, and 100 in z. I'm going to give this a radius of 100 millimeters. So you can see that just there. So we're now ready to add these parts to our simulation. So we're going to add the bottom to the simulation by clicking on Add to DualSPH Simulation just there. You can see that appears on the right. We'll leave everything here as default. The beach we're going to add to simulation. Again, we'll leave everything as default. The fill box we're going to add. Again, leave everything as default. And finally, the piston. We're going to add that to our simulation. And we're going to configure our motion for this. So everything else is going to stay the same, and we're going to configure the motion. So we're going to set motion to true up at the top there. We're going to click on the little black arrow on the right hand side of Create New, and we're going to select Regular Wave Generator. So now that we've done that, we need to configure our wave generator. So we're going to click on the regular wave generator there. We're going to leave our duration at 0 seconds. We're going to have a wave order that is second order. We're going to have a depth of 0.4 meters. Our piston direction is going to be 1, 0, 0. We're going to have a wave height of 0.1 meters and a wave period of 1.2 seconds. Our phase and ramp are going to remain at 0. However, we're going to change the save period to 10 and 20 with an X position of 2.5 and a Z position of minus 0.15, like we have here. So we're ready to click OK there. Now we're just going to sort out our order on the right hand side. Once we've done this, we're going to move our piston to the top. So we're going to have piston, bottom, beach, water. The fill box there should be labelled as water, so we'll just change that quickly. And that'll update on the right, just there. Sorted. Okay, so we're now going to define our constants. We're going to set coefficient of h to 1.2. Everything else is going to stay the same. So we're now going to define our execution parameters. Our step algorithm is going to be symplectic. We're going to have a viscosity value of 0.01 as it is there. We're going to change the viscosity factor with boundary to 0. We're going to have a time of simulation of 8 seconds. We'll just change that to 8 seconds. And we're going to have time out data of 0.025. Okay. So we're now going to change the interparticle distance to 0.015 meters. And we're ready to save and run our gen case. So we're going to save this as CaseWaves. So we'll just save it here. Save this as CaseWaves. And you can see that these particles are being created. So we're just going to check this in PowerView. It's always worth checking what has been generated in PowerView to make sure that everything is just as you would expect it to be. So if we go to, you can see that everything here is as we would expect it to be. If you view it with MK, it becomes a bit clearer. It's probably the best way to do this is to just view it with coloured by MK. And you can make sure that everything is as you would hope. So now we are ready to run our simulation. So we're just going to run this through quickly. We'll speed it up and have a look at the log on the left hand side where you can see all the parts being output. And then we'll get the out folder as well, where you can see all of the parts being created in the out folder. So now ready to process this. So we're going to click on Part VTK under Post Processing. We're going to export our fluid part. We're just going to name this as fluid part, so that's nice and clear. Export. And we're going to go back to Part VTK and we're going to export the moving part. And we're going to call this piston part. Again, so that's nice and clear for when we visualize this in PowerView. Okay, so now we're going to go into PowerView. we'll get rid of this, and we're going to open up the two VTK files that we've just created. So that is our piston part and our fluid part. So you can see those there. Ooh. There we go. Click OK and apply. Now we're going to orientate this in Y+. Just bring that back, and you can see our fluid and piston parts there. Now if we press play, you can see we have a nice regular wave generation. And if we just change this to being coloured by velocity, we can see the velocity profile of the fluid throughout there. And there we have it. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any further questions, please refer to the DualSPHysics forum or contact us at dualsphysics@gmail.com.